Hello, sweet friends. Welcome to my channel. Woo! Your girl's hair is crazy today. Oh my goodness. Okay, it needs to all sit. Something about girls with long, thick, wavy hair. It doesn't just lay nicely. It's all over the place. So I've literally had to restart filming this video because I had to have all my hair on this side and then switch it all over to the other side because it kept falling in my face and I kept pushing it out of my face, and I'm sure that's really annoying to watch on a video. So that's why I usually use my handy dandy scrunchie and just put it all in a ponytail or a braid or a bun or something. So it's not that I want to look like I'm bald all the time, it's because I have crazy hair that does not behave. That is not at all what this video is about today. All right, let's get into what this video is actually about and stop talking about hair. Advent is coming up, very exciting. By the time this video goes out, it will probably already be either very close to Advent or will already be Advent. I'm filming this today. It is Saturday before Thanksgiving. I believe it's the 22nd. So we're getting really close and I'm very excited. I'm trying with all of my willpower not to decorate for Christmas too early. It's just my own personal goal to wait until after Thanksgiving to get all of the winter decorations out, and even then I'm trying to save some of the best Christmas decorations for when we get really close to Christmas. As a military family, it's actually kind of challenging because we usually go home for Christmas, and so we're not even really here to enjoy all of the decorations on Christmas Day. So I'm still trying to figure out how all of that works, and maybe I'll get into the decorating part of Advent more later on in the video. Anyway, I wanted to share with you some resources that I use as I prepare for Advent. Advent is just this really special, precious time. I heard a little bit about what Advent meant for the pagans and why we use Advent as a season before Christmas as Christians. Advent for the pagans would be a time when Caesar was coming to visit their town, and they would have to prepare and wait. It was the season of waiting as they got ready for him to come visit them. And so similarly, we use the season of Advent as a time of waiting and preparing for Jesus to come, not only sort of memorially for Christmas time as we remember his birth, but then also looking forward to his second coming when he comes at the end of time. I just thought that was really cool as I try to focus on the waiting part of Advent and knowing that Advent is about waiting. It's not necessarily about celebrating Christmas because it's not quite Christmas yet. Christmas doesn't come until December 25th or midnight, after December 24th. And so we're not celebrating Christmas for these 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. We're getting ready for Christmas. And so what does that look like for our family? How do I help my family get ready for Christmas without celebrating actual Christmas, but letting it be a really joyful, beautiful, special time? So I wanted to share with you some of the resources that I have and that I'm going to be using this year, and sort of where we're at as a family in our celebrations of Advent. So I have 2 really good books. I also have 2 books that I'm reading on Kindle, Catholic Compendium of Liturgical Living. I'm pretty sure it's something like that. I can link it down below. And it's just got a whole slew of ways that you can celebrate the liturgical year. If you are one of my Protestant brothers or sisters, the liturgical year might mean something different for you. We have, as Catholics, a lot of saints' feast days, and specific feast days within the Catholic Church that call for celebration and remembrance in a lot of really cool ways, especially as you're trying to familiarize your children with your faith. But honestly, I think that it would be really easy and maybe interesting as our Protestant brothers and sisters to adopt some of these things, any of these things that you like or anything that you want, and to join in on the celebration that we have in our church. There's the Catholic, I wish that I could remember the actual name, but I'm filming on my phone, so that's not possible right now. I think it's the Catholic Compendium, and it's a book about liturgical living. That's the first one. The second one is the Catholic Catalog, and that one I haven't really looked into, but I know that they would have even more resources for Advent. The other 2 that I have are A Treasure Chest of Traditions and the Catholic household blessings and prayers. So my parents bought Jake and I this book when we were engaged. They also have this book, and then they got this book for my sister when she was engaged as well. So it's a really special tradition in my family to use this book, not only for blessings for all throughout the whole year, but especially at Christmas time, which is really special. They have blessings at Epiphany, which is the Feast of the Three Kings. They have blessings for the Christmas tree, the manger scene, the Advent wreath, blessings for the new year, blessings for your home in the new year, a lot of really amazing special blessings that just make that day even more special than it already is. I'll be using the blessings a lot out of this book, and then there are some really cool saints' feast days throughout the month of December. The Feast of St. Juan Diego, the Feast of Santa Lucia or St. Lucy, and there's the Feast of St. John of the Cross, the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and it's really neat because they have a lot of really fun, simple things you can do to kind of teach your children about these feast days. Not only the saints' feast days, but then also just throughout all of Advent. There's one where you can put tissue paper, purple and pink candles in your window and put little flames as you go through each week of the 4 weeks of Advent. And you can put it in your window sort of as a witness to your neighbors about, low power. Sorry, my phone said low power, so I don't know where it stopped. It's just kind of a cool witness to your neighbors of what you're doing as a family to celebrate Advent and waiting for Jesus. And then there's the Christkindl, which is where you select someone, a family member, out of a hat, and throughout the season of Advent you pray for them and do nice things for them. And then there's a lot of like little nativity activities and prayer chains and a felt board Advent wreath where you could make little leaves with the numbers on them for the 24 days leading up to Christmas. But specifically what we're going to be doing, so we only have 2 little ones right now at home. We have a 21-month-old little boy, Joseph, and a 4-month little boy, Blaze. So they are still super, super young. And even Joseph is really too young to understand most of these things or really be able to participate in a lot of these traditions. But I do want somehow for him to be able to just feel like he's being born into these traditions and that this is something that he's always going to be able to remember. So obviously throughout the years, as he grows up and as our children become older, we're going to be able to do a lot more things and a lot more of these activities and crafts throughout the season of Advent because they'll just be able to do them. And right now we're not, and that's okay. I made a little list of some of the things that we want to do I wrote up at the top, keeping Advent holy and quiet. So especially for our family throughout the busyness of the season and the busyness of work and the busyness of family, I think it's really important to be able to keep Advent holy and quiet. Obviously, our family life is not very quiet. Right now in this moment, it is because it's nap time. But normally our family isn't quiet, and that's okay. That's a wonderful thing because it means that there's life in our family. There needs to be moments throughout our days and throughout our family life, and especially when our children are asleep, preparing to go to bed or preparing for meals, where we just take these moments of quiet and of reflection as we wait for the coming of Jesus, especially during Christmas time when things can get so crazy and commercial. I definitely want this season to be one of peace as much as possible. So the first thing I have on my list are candles in the windows. So throughout Advent, I want to put little white candles in our windows just as a sign of light and of peace and coziness in our family. I'm going to try to keep our decorations more simple during the season of Advent, and then maybe right before Christmas time, then we can put up a lot more of the fun Christmassy decorations. But when you have less decorations up throughout Advent, you really notice them when it's not like this overload of Christmas decorations and then it all becomes kind of blurry. You really notice the simple little things that you put up. So I want to put candles in the windows. I want to do that tissue paper Advent wreath that I talked about, especially since that's something that Joseph will notice more and that maybe he can help me put the little flames on the candles. I want to do a traveling nativity, so instead of putting our nativity scene out all at once, this is something that I did as a kid. We set up the manger, we put up the stable, and then the first week of Advent we put Mary in the manger scene, and then the second week we put Saint Joseph, and then the third week I believe we put the donkey. I might be doing this out of order. It might have been the donkey, Mary, Joseph, shepherds, and then everything else came out at Christmas. And then the 3 wise men would travel throughout the house and only come to the manger scene at Epiphany. So I think I have that in the right order, but it's kind of a good way to show your children the progression of time, and that something to look forward to every week, that you get to put one more piece in the nativity scene, and that all of these characters in the story of Jesus were also waiting for him and gradually coming closer and closer to the place where he was born. Like I said, saints' feast days. So the feast of Saint Juan Diego and also the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. They're 2 different days, but those 2 feast days are definitely connected because Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared to Saint Juan Diego. So maybe having Mexican food that day. Part of the whole story of the apparition of Our Lady of Guadalupe was that she told Juan Diego to go gather roses, and when he did and showed his tilma to the religious authorities who didn't believe that he had been appeared to by Mary, he opened his tilma, which was a garment that peasants in Mexico wore at the time. He opened his tilma and there was a picture of Our Lady of Guadalupe imprinted on his tilma, and they've never been able to figure out how it got there scientifically, other than it was a miracle. So they've studied the picture, they've studied the material, and it's not paint, it's not a photograph, it's literally miraculously woven into the fabric. He took his tilma with the roses, and when he showed them the roses, the picture also appeared. So we could make little tissue paper roses and decorate our table with them to remember that feast day. Santa Lucia Day, which is especially celebrated, I believe, in Sweden and also other Eastern European countries. They make cardamom buns that day, and oftentimes a young girl will wear a halo or a wreath of candles on her head, and they'll sing songs, and children will go to nursing homes and hand out these saffron, that's what it is, saffron buns to elderly, just to sort of celebrate this feast of light and of beauty and giving to one another. So we could make little saffron or cardamom buns. We could put out a lot of white candles. And I also like to turn on music that sings about Santa Lucia or Saint Lucy on that feast day. Besides that, I had thought about doing the Advent wreath felt board. I have it written down. I don't know if it might be too ambitious this year while we still have really little ones at home. That might be something that I put off till next year. There's also the Jessie tree. This has been a really special tradition that we did as kids. You take a big branch from outside, put it in a pot, and you have these little ornaments that you've made, and they're all symbols of different biblical characters, starting from Adam and Eve and going all the way through to Jesus. And each biblical character has somehow contributed to the salvation story. There's a little multicolored coat for Joseph, or there's an apple for Adam, or there's a ladder for Jacob. And so it goes on and on and on through all the characters leading up to Jesus. That also, I don't know if it's a little ambitious. It's just something special to do. And so even though Joseph's not going to fully understand it, it might be just something that I want to start this year, to just start that tradition. I need to figure out how to make the ornaments. My mom had them all made when we were little, and so I either just need to make them out of maybe some cardstock. It needs to be something that's not going to roll up or get messed up over the years. So if you have any ideas on how to make Jessie tree ornaments, hit me up in the comment section, because that would be really helpful. Oh yeah, so the rosary. I struggle a lot with praying the daily rosary. It only really takes 20 to 25 minutes out of your day. It really is just spiritual laziness on my part to not do it every day, because I do have time. I could find time, but I want to be able to start small and to really focus on this beautiful prayer that is the rosary. It's this beautiful prayer of repetition that you pray, and while you pray those more repetitive prayers, you meditate on a certain part of the life of Christ. And there was a really good quote that talked about how the rosary is a compendium of the gospel, and from the beginning there's different sets of mysteries that you can pray. They're called mysteries of the rosary, and they meditate on different events in the life of Christ, and it's really beautiful. So you pray the Hail Mary repetitively in 10 sets, with a Glory Be and an Our Father in between, 5 sets of 10. And it's just a really awesome way to feel more connected to Christ, to sort of quiet your heart and quiet your mind, and to be able to meditate on his life and what it means for you and what Jesus is calling you in the way that we are called to imitate him. So specifically for Advent, I want to at least pray 1 decade of the Rosary every night and to meditate on one of the joyful mysteries, which is sort of more of the beginning of his life. So it's the angel Gabriel coming to Mary and announcing to her that she's going to be the mother of Jesus, the visitation of Mary to Elizabeth, the birth of Jesus, the presentation of Jesus in the temple, and the finding of Jesus in the temple. So that would kind of take us every 5 days. We'll have meditated on those 5 events in his life. And I think that would be really special and even more doable than trying to pray a whole rosary in the evening. I also want to volunteer somehow as a family more, and kind of find different opportunities to help other families in need or other people in need. And I also need to do more research into what that will tangibly look like. I know we have a place called Manna Cafe that kind of operates as a soup kitchen that we could help out at. There's Habitat for Humanity, but I need to maybe find more opportunities for volunteering in our town specifically. Besides that, decorating the house, which I kind of talked about a little bit. I'm hoping to put up the Christmas tree, but not completely decorate it. So I'll have the Christmas tree, I'll have the lights on it. I don't know if I'm going to turn on the lights right away. I'm thinking maybe we'll decorate it part of the way. So we'll put it up, decorate it with maybe some of the more simple ornaments, and then maybe turn it on the 2nd or 3rd week of Advent. I have a lot of really pretty wintry decorations that I'm really excited to put up. So even though they're not super Christmassy, they are still festive. And those I'm really excited to put out. I really like trying to decorate from nature. So like right now, for instance, I have my little jar of fall leaves and I have little acorns on this tray here as well. And I have some Osage oranges that I found. And I really like decorating seasonally with what nature is around me. So I think I'm going to try to find maybe some holly branches or some pine branches to put up around our house. I think that would be really pretty. And then again, like what I said with the Christmas tree, and just trying to keep it simple so that closer to Christmas, we can really throw on all of the fun festive Christmassy things and kind of differentiate between the seasons of Advent and Christmas. And last but not least, hopefully with some friends, we want to try to have a caroling and cookie party. So our friends are really amazing cooks and bakers. So we're thinking we could all get together and bake different kinds of cookies together, and then maybe take those cookies and carol perhaps at a nursing home. That would kind of fall under volunteering, but it would also just be a really special way to enjoy time together as friends, but also to bring joy to people who maybe don't have as many friends or family around them to make this time festive. I think that's everything. I would love to hear from you guys on what some of your traditions are, what you like to do to keep this season of Advent and preparation for Christmas special for your families. Maybe what are some of the things that you do as young families? What are some traditions that you've grown into as your kids have grown up? Is there anything that I'm missing that I should be doing this Advent? I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. And again, I will see you in the next one. Bye!